Hey guys, Ron here. So let's take a look at the project we're going to build together today. It's a clean and simple landing page which has all the ingredients you need to launch your SaaS product, including the hero section, the before and after where you can show your potential users how much better their lives can be after using your product, the feature section to highlight all the cool things your product can do, the demo section, and pricing. Obviously, don't forget to charge your customers, frequently asked questions FAQs, and this classic as seen on moving banner to enhance your credibility. And then how can we leave out the testimonials? This is where you build strong social proof to convince people even further. And finally, we've got this final push section to really drive the point home and get people to take action. So with all these pieces in place, you will have a powerful landing page that gets you results. Now let's just first take a look at the structure of the course. We are going to build the page from the top down, starting with navbar and then hero and then before after and then all the way down to footer. For the tech stack, we're going to be using Next.js for the framework and Tailwind CSS for styling and Shadcn UI components such as the buttons we're using and a few other libraries to help tie everything together. So if this sounds good to you, let's get started. Okay, let's start by opening our terminal. So I'm gonna come back here, open my terminal. So I'm actually gonna switch to a different directory, but feel free to put it wherever you want. And then let's grab the command from Next.js installation documentation. So copy this command, come back here and then paste it. So I'm gonna call it my landing page, but you can call it whatever you want. Would you like to use TypeScript? I'm gonna say no. Would you like to use ESLint? No again. Would you like to use Tailwind CSS? Yes. Would you like your code inside a source direct? Yes, I like that structure. Would you like to use app router? Yes. Would you like to use TurboPack? No. Would you like to customize the import alias? No. Okay, so just let it do its thing. Awesome. Now that it's done, let's open our code editor and let's open that folder we just installed. I believe for me it was under personal tutorials, my landing page, and I'm going to open that. And then the first thing I want to check the package.json file just because I want to see the React version. Okay, here it's actually 19. I don't want 19 to be honest with you. I want 18 just because a lot of the libraries right now are still using React 18 and it's a kind of a hassle to upgrade all of them. So I'm gonna say 18 and I will delete node modules. Now delete the package lock JSON file and then open our terminal by doing Command J and just do npm install. Okay, cool. Let's quickly install a few things that we know we're going to need down the road. And first one being Lucid icon. So let's do npm install Lucid React. And just to quickly show you, it's a really nice icon libraries, which is also my go-to source for icons. As you can see here, pretty much everything you need. Okay, so come back here and we also need npm install framer motion. So we're not directly using this, but another library is using that under the hood, so we need to install that. And similarly, we also need npm install react use measure. Awesome. So let's install Shadcn UI library now. So let me come back here and then open Shadcn documentation and copy this command and come back here. Which style would you like to use? Honestly, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just gonna go with the default New York. Would you like to use CSS variables for theming? Yes. Awesome. So let's just start our development server. So npm run dev. And let's open a new tab here, localhost 3000. Cool. This is our starting point. Let's come back to our code editor and then hide the terminal. We can close that now. By the way, you can do Command W or Control W to close a tab inside your code editor. So first I want to open layout. So you can do Command P to open any file. So I want to open layout.js, and I'm just going to switch that font to something called Moolish. This is the font I've been using throughout pretty much all of my apps. Let's just do const Moolish equal Moolish open subsets Latin. And then for the body's class name, let's just change that as well. Let's do cn, which by the way was installed by Shadcn. When we install Shadcn, this is also installed under the lib utils file. We can take a look. This is the function. Okay, so let's do open and then min height screen font sans anti-aliased and then Moolish dot class name. Under our source folder, let's create a new folder called components. This is just by convention. And then under components folder, let's create a new file called max with wrapper.js. So this is a neat trick that I learned from a YouTuber called Josh Type Coding. I actually learned a lot from him. So just a quick shout out to Josh. And then you do return div, open the div, and then class name. Let's not do this. Let's do the dynamic one. So cn, import cn from our utils file. And then let's do margin x auto width full, max width screen extra large, and then padding x 10, and then merge with whatever class name we're passing. So the cn is just a utility function that kind of merges all of your class name together. And then inside here we need to receive class name. Oops, why does it do that? Class name as well as children. And for some reason it's importing this way. This is the old way. I don't want this. So I want import cn from at /lib/utils. Okay, good. And don't forget to put the children inside our div. Awesome. And then do export default max with wrapper. So this component, as the name suggests, is just a with wrapper, so we can consistify, or is that even a word? Consistify, make all of our blocks to have consistent width. That's all it does. Now let's actually start building out our first block. If you remember, our first block is the navbar. So let me actually put an arrow here so we know which one we are working on right now. Okay, let's come back here. Under our components folder, let's create a new file called navbar.js. And we can do rfce to save us some time. Now, just to refresh our memories a little bit, let's come back to the original app and actually take a look at the navbar here, because one problem I've always had with the tutorials that I've sat through when I was learning how to use Tailwind CSS was that I was just always following the person typing along the class names without realizing how they came about. Like, I'd be wondering, well, how'd you come up with that? Like, how'd you know to put flex here or grid or transition, whatever it may be? Like, did you conjure that up out of thin air? Of course not, right? You could say it comes with practice or experience, but for me personally, what I found useful was to practice working backwards. And let me explain. So let me pull out my pen here actually. So let's say, for example, I'm looking at this block here. This is a block, and inside obviously it has two subsections. So this is one and here's another one. And I'll be asking myself, how can I achieve this look? And turns out it's actually not complicated. It's usually flex or a grid. And in this case, I was using flex because flex can put two items in a row. And then I'll keep asking myself more questions like, how can I create a space between those two items? And turns out it's just using justify between. And you'll notice that inside this block, there's actually a children div, which are those links. And I'll be asking myself like, how can I create the space between those links? And turns out it's just space X. So believe it or not, when you practice doing this over and over and over and over, something happens in your brain. I don't know what happens, but maybe some neurons were fired, and the next time you see this, you'll know exactly what to do. You don't have to memorize anything. So with that, let's come back to our code editor. So let's actually open a nav tag just to make it more semantically accurate. And let's say class name sticky height 16 inset x 0 top 0 z index 30 width full border b and then border gray 200 and then give it a BG white with opacity 75% and backdrop blur Jesus, small. So this will create that sort of glassy look that I really like. Then do transition all. And inside, let's open a max with wrapper. Remember that wrapper we created earlier? And then in here, let's open a div with flex height 16 items center justify between, the one we just talked about. Then let's open another div. So div flex items center justify center and then gap 14. So remember, now we're inside the first div, the first subsection here. Okay, and let's do link. Let's import that from next link. Give it an href2 homepage and then class name flex z index 40. Actually, this is not necessary. So font bold, text large. Okay, and in here, let's just do your app, or in this case, my app. And then we'll create those links. So open a new div and then do class name. On small devices, we want it to be hidden. And then on medium and above, we want flex items center justify center and give it a gap of 8. And then on large and above, we want to do gap 14. And inside we have 4 links. So let's do the first one, link pricing. Pricing. And let's give it a href to hashtag pricing and then give it a class name of font semi-bold hover underline offset 2. And the second one would be demo. So link href hashtag demo class name. Because they're all identical, so I'm just gonna copy the class name here, copy that, and here says demo. Actually, we can just copy this whole thing and do 1 more, 2 more. Then just change this to FAQ, and the last one will be about. Change the link as well, so FAQ and about. And in order to preview this, let's come to our page.js, the root page, and then just clean everything here, just to clean it. Leave it empty for now, and we can get rid of that. We're not using that. And then come to our layout.js file, and inside the body tag, let's add a nav bar. You can import that here. Now let's go check it out. So come here, come to our localhost, refresh it, and voila, we see that here. Actually, this FAQ, let me just change that really quick. FAQ. This looks better. Okay. Right. Awesome. So let's keep going. So under link, the last link, and then 1 div, 2 div, open a new div, and let's say menu, import the menu icon from Lucy React icon, and give it a class name of size 6. Actually, I discovered that this is the equivalent of you writing height 6 width 6, but you can just write size 6. And then cursor pointer. We want this to be only shown on a mobile device. So class name on medium and above, we want it to be hidden. And let's just add a little comment here saying to do add mobile menu. And we can comment this out for now. Command slash. Okay, and then underneath this div, let's open another div. This will be the sign in button here. So the sign in button here, let's open a class name. On mobile device, we want it to be hidden, and then on medium and above, flex, item center. Now, because we're gonna use Shadcn's button component, so let me just come to Shadcn and then search for that real quick. So button, and let's install that. So I'm gonna choose npm. You choose whatever you're using, and then copy that. And I'll come back here, open my terminal to install that. So I believe it's gonna install to create a new folder under my components called UI, and then put that button component inside the UI folder. There we go. So you see it here. Nice. So let's close the terminal, and then let's say link href equals / sign in. We don't have that page yet, but let's just put it here now. And then class name, let's use this way. So cn button variants, import that. Let's do size small. So we have different choices, right, given by Shadcn. So actually, let's take a look at the button. So let's do command P and then button.jsx. You see we have different variants, default, distractive, outline, secondary, ghost, and different sizes, right? Right now, I want to use the small one. Okay, come back here. And then in addition to the existing class names given by Shadcn, we want to add a little bit of our own. So let's say flex, items, center, justify center, and group padding x4. So let's actually close that, open the link. Let's do span. And then inside the span, let's do sign in. And if you remember, we have that little arrow here, right? So let's do arrow right, import that from Lucid React, and then give it a class name of margin left 1.5, transform, size 4, transition transform, duration 300, and then group hover. This is why we added the group here, so that it can control the children inside. So let's say group hover translate x1. And what this does, let's just take a look here, is when I hover over, you see the arrow moves to the right a little bit. So horizontally, it'll move right. This is why we need to add the group here. So good job. We're done with navbar, and then let's just move on to the next section, which is hero. So let me move that here and then come back here. Now there are just too many tabs here. Let me just close all of them. You can right click and then close others. And actually I don't need this one as well. So let's open page.js. Now let's create a new component here. Get rid of the div and let's say landing page. This doesn't exist yet, so we're gonna have to create that. So copy this, and then under components, let's create a new folder called landing page components. I just want to group all of them together. So under landing page components folder, let's create a new file called hero section.js. And let's not forget to create this landing page component. So under components folder, create a new file called landingpage.js. Let's do rfce, and then in our page.js, let's import that here. Good. So we're pretty much done with page.js. We can close that one by doing command W. Open our hero section and do the same thing here, rfce, just to create a skeleton and get rid of this part. We don't need that. And then come to landing page. We will open a React fragment here. And then let's import the first section, which is hero section. Close that. Okay. Get rid of that too. And let's just come back and take a look at our hero section. And again, just try asking yourself, how can I create this look, right? So it seems like it has two subgroups inside. First one being this left column, and then the second one being this graphic box. Well, we can achieve that using either flex or grid. And in this case, I was using grid. And inside this left column, it has a heading, probably an H1, a subheading, probably H2, and this could be a list, maybe unordered list, and a button, and then another div on itself where it has two divs inside, first one containing all these avatars and another div containing the stars and the text. So let's come back and open our hero section, and let's change this to section. So section, and then give it a class name of bgslate50. And inside, let's open a max width wrapper, and then give it a class name of padding top 10, padding x2, and this exclamation mark just means I want to prioritize this. And then on large device and above, let's say padding x10, on large and above a grid, on large and above grid columns 2, on large and above gap x0. So horizontally, I don't want any gaps, and on large and above padding top 24, and on large and above padding bottom 20. In here, let's open another div and then give it a class name of column span 1, padding x2, on large padding x0, and in here open another div and give it a class name of relative margin x auto, text center, on large and above text left, and then flex column, item center, on large and above items start. And in here, let's do h1, your tagline here for your cool product. And let's give it a class name for the h1, relative with fit, tracking tighter, text balance, font bold, and leading tight, text gray 900, text 5 extra large, and on medium and above text 6 extra large. Now underneath the h1, let's open a p tag and say this is a great place to describe your product and what it does. And I'm just going to copy the sentence, paste it here to fill up some space. And then let's give this p tag a class name, margin top 8, text balance, text large, max width prose, text center, font semi-bold, on large and above padding right 10, medium and above text wrap, and on large and above text left. And then underneath the p tag, let's open an unordered list and give it a class name of hidden on small devices or mobile device, margin top 8, text left, font medium, on medium and above flex column, item center, on small and above items start. And inside, let's open a div with a class name of space y2, and then let's open a list with a check mark inside the list, importing from Lucid React, and give it a class name of size 5, shrink 0, so don't shrink this, and then text green 600. And below the icon, let's say good reason 1, and let's add a class name for the list as well. So class name flex gap 1.5, item center text left. Now I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to copy this list and paste it once, twice, 3 times. Then change this to good reason 2. Obviously, you want to modify this to fit your product. So good reason 3, 4. Now below the closing tag of UL, let's open a link. This will be our call to action button. So link href equals, I'm just going to put a placeholder hashtag here, and then class name equals cn, import cn, button variants, and this time we want size large, and then flex, item center, justify center, margin top 8, group. And close that as well. Here, open a span tag, start now. And similar to what we did in the navbar here, let's create an arrow tag. So arrow right, class name, margin left 1.5, transform, size 4, transition, transform, duration 300, group, hover, translate x1, and close this. And let's just take a look, and it says arrow link is not defined. It's because we forgot to import link. So I'm gonna import that. Okay, nice, nice. Okay, let's continue. Below the link tag, let's open another div with class name of margin top 12, flex, flex column, on small and above flex row, on small and above item start, and item center gap 5. And in here, let's open another div with flex minus space x3. So this div will contain all of those avatars here. So I have already prepared a bunch of images, and I'm gonna drag them inside our public folder. So I'm gonna paste it here, and you can find those assets in the description down below. So let's come in here and then do image, and then the source will be /users/user1.png, and the alt tag, let's just put user image and give it a class name of select none, pointer events none, inline block, and then size 10, rounded full, ring 2, ring slate 200, and then a BG white. And then let's just copy this because we need a couple of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just change the source to user 2, user 3, user 4, and user 5. And then one closing div down. So open another div and then give it a class name of flex, flex column, justify between, item center on small and above item start. In here, let's open another div. So div with a flex and gap 1. And in here, we need 5 stars. So we can just do array 5 dot fill dot map. And then the first argument, we don't care. So underscore, and then index, arrow function, open another paren. We can say star, import that from Lucid, and key equals index, class name, give it a size 4, text yellow 500, fill yellow 500. Okay, and below this div, let's open a p tag, and inside let's open another span with font semi-bold. Say 5,000 plus happy users. Cool. Let's take a look again. It says array.fillTheMap is not a function, and that's because I forgot to invoke that. Okay, and I noticed that the space after the plus sign is not working. So I'm just gonna move this p tag into a one line here, and that should work. Great. 1 div, 2 div, 3 div, 4 div. After 4 closing div, let's open another div and give it a class name of column span full on mobile device and margin top 14, and on medium and above margin top 0, on large and above column span 1. And inside, let's open another div with class name of width full, height 60, on large and above height full, rounded 3 extra large, BG gray 200 with opacity 80%, and then flex item center justify center. Let me just format that. And in here, I'm going to do h1 your graphic. And obviously in your real app, you probably want to place an actual image. But for now, this is just to show you how to position your graphic. So class name, text center, text large, font bold. Okay, let's take a look. Nice. So we're done with the hero section. Let's move on to the before and after. Let's take a look at this section. So it has some text and 2 boxes and a user testimonial. Now let's come back to our code. And under our components, landing page components, let's create a new file called beforeafter.js. Let's do rfce to create the skeleton, get rid of that. And again, let's open a section here and then give it a class name of bg white/80, so opacity 80. And then open a max width wrapper with a class name of padding bottom 10, padding top 20. And in here, let's open a div with class name of max width 3 extra large, margin x auto, tracking tight, flex column, item center, justify center, gap 5. And inside, let's open another div with class name of flex, item center, justify center, gap 1.5. And in this div, let's add an X icon from Lucid React with a class name of size 8 on small and above size 6. And then give it a text red 600. Self-closing tag, and then h2 insert reason for not using other bad alternatives. And then let's give this h2 a class name of font bold, text extra large, on medium and above text 3 extra large, text center. Let me format that. I want to format this. Okay, so closing h2, closing div, open a new div with a class name of flex, item center, justify center, gap 1.5. And in here, let's give it a check icon from Lucid, class name size 8 on small size 6. So same thing here, text green 600 for the check icon, and then underneath h2 with font bold, text extra large, 3 extra large, text center, text balance. And in here, let's say insert reason for why using your product is better. So closing h2, closing div, another closing div, and then let's open another div with class name of flex column, gap 10, on large and above flex row, on large and above max width 4 extra large, on large margin x auto, item center, justify center, enlarge gap 14, margin Y, so vertically 16. And in here, open another div with class name of flex with full on small and above flex 1. So take all the space. Flex column, item center, BG primary foreground. Did I type that right? Yes. Rounded to extra large, shadow medium, padding Y 12. And inside, let's open an unordered list with a class name of text left, font medium, flex column, item center, on small and above items start. And in here, open another div with a class name of space Y2, so vertical space, and then tracking wide, text extra large. And inside, let's do h3 before. So this would be the left-hand side box. And then below the h3, let's open a list with a class name of flex gap 1.5, item center, text left, and inside, let's do x with a class name of size 4, shrink 0, text red 500, not 50, and close it. And below that, let's just say bad. And just for demonstration purpose, I put 4 of them here. So 2, 3, 4. And let me close those gaps actually. So close that. Let's open another div with a class name of flex with full. So be very similar to the other one. Small flex 1, flex column, item center, BG primary with a 10% opacity, rounded to extra large, shadow medium, padding Y 12. And we can pretty much just copy what we did here. So let's copy that. We can just copy the entire UL. So copy the UL and then paste it inside here. Except we want to say after here, and then change the text to, so you can place your cursor here and press option 1, 2, 3, 4, change that to green, and we'll change the text also to say good. Nice. And let's just come back to our landing page and import before after so we can preview what we have done here. And let's come back here, take a look. Nice. So I actually forgot to change this icon, so let's change that here. So change all of the X to check. Okay, so after the closing UL, 1 div, 2 div, just above max width wrapper, let's open another div with class name. So this is the user testimonial section. Max width large, margin X auto, margin Y 20, flex column, item center, and small and above items start. And inside, open another div with class name of margin X auto, flex item center, justify center, gap 1, margin bottom 4. And in here, similarly, do you remember what we did inside hero section where we filled all the stars? We can just copy this part actually. So copy that and paste it here. Probably need to import star as well. Don't forget to do that. And below this div, open another div with class name text center, font semi-bold, text balance, text gray 800. And in here we could say, I can't imagine my life without using this app. And I'm just going to add some lorem ipsum, but you know, if you have real user testimonial, then this is the place to add it. And actually I want to highlight these 3 words, so I'm going to cut them and then do span. Give the span a class name of BG yellow 200. So it looks a little bit nicer like that. And finally, let's add the user avatar. So under this closing div, let's open another div with class name of flex, margin X auto, item center, justify center, gap 4, margin Y 6, and let's do image, and the source we can do /users/john.png. So again, you can find all of the assets under public users. Here is the image. Okay, so the alt tag will just say user and give it a class name of inline block, pointer events none, object cover, not contain, cover, size 12, rounded full, ring 2, ring gray 300. And below that, let's open another div tag with class name flex column, and inside let's open a p tag with font semi-bold, says John D. And then I'm just going to duplicate this but change it to user 1, and then change the text to text small. All right, let's take a look. Nice. So let's move on to our next section, which is the feature display. So come back to our code, and we can close this file as well. And then under landing page components, create a new file called feature display.js, and then RFCE, create a skeleton, get rid of that, and then change this to a section tag with a class name of BG slate 50, padding Y 24, padding bottom 16. And in here, let's open a div with max. In here, class name max with small, and on small and above, max with 2 extra large. On large and above, max with 3 extra large, margin X auto, flex column, gap 4. And inside, let's do h2 with a class name of tracking tight, font bold, text center, medium, above, text left, text 3 extra large, and on large and above, text 5 extra large. On large and above, leading 3, so this time we're going to customize a little bit, so 3.5 rem. And here says all you need to do whatever you need to do here. And below the h2, let's open a p tag with class name of font semi-bold, margin Y 4, text center, on medium and above, text left, text gray 700, and let's say lorem, you can do lorem times 20. It's gonna give you a bunch of lorem ipsums, but of course you would want to put your actual sales pitch here. So below the p tag, let's open another div with class name of flex wrap, medium and above, flex no wrap, item center, justify center, medium and above, justify between, and gap 8, medium and above, gap 0, margin top 4 at all times. And in here, let's do another div with class name flex column, items center, gap 2, and group cursor pointer. So inside this div, let's add a sparkle icon from Lucid, and give it a class name of size 5, on medium and above size 10, group hover, we want to say text gray 600, transition colors, duration 200. So it gives that a little bit delay to make it seem smoother. Now let's close this tag. Underneath, let's do a p tag. It says feature 1, and give it a class name of text small, font semi-bold, on group hover, text gray 600, transition colors, duration 200. And because we are going to repeat ourselves for 3 more times, we can just copy this div, copy that, and then 1, 2, 3. So change the text to feature 2, feature 3, feature 4. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, we haven't imported yet. So coming to our landing page, import the feature display here and take a look. Nice. Okay, let's move on to our next section, which is the demo section. Come back to our code. So again, under the landing page components, create a new file called demo section.js, and then rfce, get rid of that. Let's take a look at the demo section. So we've got a heading here, an image of the founder, and some text to go along with it. So this is my design. Feel free to alter it. And this area is intended for your demo. Maybe you can put a video walkthrough to explain how your product works. So yeah, let's come back here. So let's open a section tag with a class name of bg white, 80% opacity, padding white 20. And then in here, let's open a div with class name of width 90%, so 90% of the parent. And then small in here. On small and above, max width 2 extra large. On large and above, max width 3 extra large. Margin X auto. Flex column. Item center. Text gray 700. And in here, let's create a h1 that says, hey there, it's your name. So I'm just going to put my name here. It's run. And then give the h1 a class name of font bold, text 3 extra large, text center. And I actually want my name to be a link. So I'm going to cut that and then do a, open an a tag. And I want user to be directed to my social. So I'm just going to put my Twitter account here. Then let's say target equals underscore blank, or real equals no opener, no refer. So this way it will open a new tab instead of opening the same tab. Give it a class name of hover underline offset 2. And I want to add a waving emoji here. And below the h1, let's do an image with the source of /user/john.png. The alt tag will be run, and a class name inline block, pointer events none, size 24, rounded full, margin y 10. Okay, and below the image tag, let's open a p tag with a class name of max width prose, width fit, text center, font semi-bold, leading relaxed. And in here, let's open a span. Your story goes here. Give a class name of font bold. But this is more of a reminder, like this is where you put your story. You don't have to. So I'm just gonna put some placeholder text. Then below the p tag, let's do the demo video. So open a div with a class name of margin y20, scroll to margin top 20. So remember in our nav bar, we have 4 links. So when I click on demo, it's going to scroll to this section, but I don't want to scroll it to exactly where this is. I want to give it some space on top, right? So it looks better. And then with full, give it an ID of demo. So the link actually knows where to scroll to. And in here, let's open another div with a class name of with full on large device width 4/5, then on large margin X auto, and then height 72 on large and above height of 96, shadow medium BG gray 200, rounded extra large, flex item center, justify center. And in here, let's open an h1 tag with font bold text extra large, says your demo. And then 1 closing div, 2 closing div. Open another div here with a class name of flex item center, justify center, margin bottom 4. And in here, let's just add a little arrow down, so chevron down icon from Lucid, and give it a class name of animate bounce, size 10, text gray 600, and close this. And then below this div, let's open another div with a class name of font medium, text center, text 2 extra large, text gray 600, and hover over text gray 800, so a little bit darker, cursor pointer, and I say try it now. Now I put a div here, but ideally it'll be a link. And let's just preview that. So come to our landing page and then import our demo section. So let's take a look here. Nice. Okay, let's move on to our next section, which is pricing.